Welcome to the Brand and Market Podcast, where branding clarity meets marketing strategy. I'm your host, Allie Haney, founder of Brand and Market, a boutique agency dedicated to helping small businesses craft intentional brands and effective marketing plans. Each week, I share practical tips and insights to help you, especially those of you in real estate-related industries, build a standout brand to attract your brand's biggest fans. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Brand and Market Podcast. I am going to say that today marks the day that we are officially a marketing podcast because we are talking about email marketing. I don't know how I got to episode 30 some odd without even approaching the subject of email marketing, but here we are. Not only are we going to be talking about a couple of email marketing strategies, we're also going to be talking very much so about my favorite email marketing platform that is called Flodesk. If you haven't heard of it, you should look them up. Flodesk. Flodesk is my favorite email marketing platform. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the company today, and then I'm going to tell you some of my favorite features that makes them different than other email marketing companies. And then we're going to dive into a few different strategies that you can use either as a realtor or as a short-term rental owner in order to grow your email list and nurture your clients. So first, let's touch on the fact that I feel like there's been a lot of reels and other social media posts about email marketing being dead, but I absolutely disagree with that notion because if someone is willing to give you their email address, that is precious real estate. And yes, I meant to say that. That's a pun. Precious real estate. Whenever you are popping into their inbox, that's very personal when you have somebody's name or somebody's business on your phone. You're looking at them on your phone, in your email inbox, on your laptop, in your email inbox. That is one of the most direct connections. And of course, you own your email list. You can't say that for social media. You don't own Instagram or Facebook or Threads or LinkedIn, any of those social media platforms. If Mark Zuckerberg decided tomorrow that he no longer wanted to do Meta and shut it all down, your 10,000 followers or 500 followers, however many followers, they wouldn't be with you anymore. You couldn't sell to them anymore. You couldn't nurture them anymore. However, that's not the case with email marketing, right? You own your email marketing list. All of those subscribers, you have their email addresses and direct access to them anytime that you send them an email. So just to kind of settle that rumor, I very much believe that email marketing is alive and well. And today we're going to talk all about Flodesk and how that tool can be something that you can use to grow your email list. First, I'm going to tell you a personal story about Flodesk. I have been with Flodesk since 2020, and I believe the company was founded in 2019 or 20. So I've been with them since the very beginning, when they were in beta stages and still working out a lot of the kinks. When I decided to launch my course, I used to have a photography business course, and I launched that in August or September of 2020. I actually jumped away from Flodesk and went to a platform called Kajabi in attempts to have the course hosted on the same place that I could do the email marketing for said course. I was at Kajabi for less than 6 months before I came back to Flodesk because I did not know quite how good I had it at Flodesk. So I've actually experienced other email marketing platforms and came back to Flodesk after troubleshooting and trying to make it work. All that to say, Flodesk is who I am with now as an email marketing platform and who I plan to stay with for the foreseeable future. So let me jump into a couple of different things that Flodesk has that differentiates them from other email marketing platforms, because let's face it, there are a lot out there. So let's figure out why Flodesk could be the answer for your email marketing. First, I want to touch on the design aspect of Flodesk. We've all seen those kind of clunky marketing emails that feel really choppy and just, text heavy. The biggest, design aspect would maybe be italicized font, right? We can all picture that in our heads inside of our email inboxes. Well, that absolutely is not the case with Flodesk. one of the founders of Flodesk has a design background. And so that design and that aesthetic element of Flodesk is what initially drew me to them. When I started using Flodesk, I was still a photographer. So I was in a very creative space, and that creativity was very important to me. That like aesthetically pleasing, just overall appearance was really important to me. And that has kind of, really followed me throughout my business because it shows how much you care. It shows the professionalism of your business. And that's one thing that I really hold in high regard when I receive email marketing from other businesses as well. To show you or illustrate to you how impeccably designed these emails are and how user friendly they are on the back end, they have numerous email templates that essentially you can just pull and then adjust to your brand to make it look, on brand for you in terms of colors or fonts. And they have them not only designed so well, but they also have them grouped into different categories. So, for example, if you need specifically an email sequence that has like a welcome letter in it, you can specifically go to welcome and hit those, get your options for welcome emails, and then go be on your merry way designing those emails for your welcome sequence. Similarly, they have literally a category that says make money. So if you're putting on a promo or a sale for a digital product or, a promotion for a seasonal discount for your short-term rental, you can go right there. You know exactly, which email templates are going to be appropriate for the purpose that you're emailing your audience. And you can jump right in and have this beautifully designed email that you don't even really have to do anything but tweak the copy, the colors, and the font. It really is user friendly on the back end in terms of design. You're not in there coding anything. And when they receive it, it's a brand builder for you because it's so professionally done and looks so pretty that it's just nice to see that design in your inbox when you're used to seeing those text heavy emails. The next thing that I want to touch on is absolutely huge, right? We all have budgets in mind when we are looking to adopt a new marketing channel. And so the thing that differentiates Flodesk from other email marketing platforms in terms of finances is the investment that you put into it to actually become a paying member of Flodesk. With other email marketing platforms, I'm not going to name any names, but as your list grows, as more subscribers come onto your email list, your rates increase with that number of subscribers. Let's say you have 50 subscribers. I'm going to just throw out some odd numbers, right? You have 50 subscribers, so you pay $5 a month. But when you come up to 500 subscribers, you're then paying $50 a month, right? The whole point of having an email list is to grow it, but it doesn't totally make sense to continue to grow your list when you're paying more monthly for that list. The differentiator at Flodesk is that it doesn't matter whether you have 50 subscribers, 500 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, you're still paying the same rate as your email list grows. And to me, that is an incredible testament to the support of small businesses that Flodesk has made very clear. I absolutely love that feature about Flodesk, and it makes it very predictable in terms of what you can anticipate devoting to that portion of your marketing budget every year. So love that about Flodesk. Thank you, Flodesk, for keeping your rates consistent across the board. Another great thing about Flodesk is how user-friendly the automation and workflows are. So in marketing, you often hear the word funnel, right? It's kind of a buzzword, but what that essentially means when you actually try to enact that in your business, at least within Flodesk, is you are creating workflows. That's the term that Flodesk uses, right? I'm going to dive a little bit more into workflows later, but essentially it's the sequence that a subscriber follows when they enter into your email list or your brand ecosystem. So when they give you their email address, what happens next? Do they receive a freebie? Do they receive a welcome letter? Do they receive a discount code? After that, they're likely going to receive a welcome sequence, right, of 4 or 5 emails before they go into a general subscriber list. I'll dive more into that later, but the way that you set up those workflows on the back end of Flodesk is extremely user friendly. Like I said, I left Flodesk to go to Kajabi for a little bit. And when I was going in to set up those workflows, I was like baffled by how, whatever the opposite of intuitive is, it was that. But with Flodesk, it basically maps it all out for you. And at each juncture, you're able to make a decision so that it logically flows to the next email or to the next part of the process. The user friendliness of the back end of Flodesk when you're actually building out your funnels or your sequences is so incredibly easy. When I send Loom videos to my clients that explains exactly how I set up things so that they can set it up for themselves next time, people are like, wait, that's it? Yep, that's it. That's it. They are so simple and so user friendly. Okay, next thing I love about Flodesk are the high deliverability rates. Okay, so what that means is you're growing your list, right? You want as many people to be on your email list as possible because those are warm leads. They're people you can nurture to eventually turn into paying clients. You're putting in all this effort to create those weekly or monthly or quarterly newsletters, all of those different funnels or freebies, those opt-ins and welcome sequences, right? It's like you're putting in so much effort. When you actually hit send, you want that email to actually get delivered to their inbox. And Flodesk is known for their very high deliverability rates. And let me tell you a little bit of an anecdote that just happened to me recently because I switched over my domain. My domain used to be allyrayhaney.com. So I had that personal brand. I actually mentioned that transition over in a previous episode. I will link it below in the show notes if you want to hear more about that rebrand. But I transitioned from allyrayhaney.com to brandandmarket.co. So I had a new domain and therefore a new email address. I'm now ally@brandandmarket.co. And I had to authenticate that domain so that it was recognized by Google and I could get actually into people's inboxes and be known that I was not a spammer. So I actually had some issues with that and was able to directly speak to their support. And I'll touch on this more in a second, but I was able to directly speak to their support and be walked through exactly how to authenticate that domain. That immediately, it was like a switch flipped and my emails were delivering directly to inboxes and having like a 99.7% deliverability rate, which basically means maybe one person accidentally put in the wrong email address and that's why it couldn't be delivered. But it was only because the email address didn't exist, not because anything on Flodesk's end. That is incredibly important if you're putting all of this work into your email marketing to actually be able to get the email into someone's inbox, right? Okay, that leads me to my next fangirl moment over Flodesk is that they are extremely responsive in terms of customer support. So the way that I always go about finding out any questions that I might have or answers to questions I might have about Flodesk is through the Flodesk Insiders Facebook group. There is this wonderful woman named Petra, and I don't know if she ever sleeps. She responds to almost every single comment or issue that someone has within that Facebook group. And so at this point, it's very rare that I actually even post in the Facebook group. I just search the issue that I'm having if I'm having one and can find 5, 6, 7 other posts that answer my question before I even have to push along in that troubleshooting process any further. She is extremely responsive. All of Flodesk is extremely responsive, not only in terms of any troubleshooting issues or customer service, but also in terms of new features being released. In fact, they have what's called a roadmap where you, as any user that has Flodesk, can submit a request for a feature that they would like to have incorporated into the Flodesk software in the future. They always come back to supporting small business owners in any way they can, regardless of whether that is not climbing your monthly rate, your subscription rate up as your list grows, whether that is, hearing directly from people about what features they want to be added next. And down to just this past week, I saw that they were having basically an open call with the production team at Flodesk. Like I could book a call with the production team to have a one-on-one face-to-face video call with them to say, okay, this is what I would love to see on the platform in the next 6 months. That's crazy. Like that kind of face-to-face interaction never happens with larger companies. It's really cool to be able to see the growth and progress and the client centeredness of Flodesk. That kind of leads me to my next point that I love about Flodesk. Man, I really am fangirling about them, aren't I? Anyone that signs up for Flodesk, you automatically become a Flodesk affiliate. So if you know of someone else that needs, an email marketing platform, you are able to pass on your code to give them not only 50% off of their first year of Flodesk, but you also get a portion of that, an affiliate commission off of that, which is really cool that you don't have to apply to do that. You just go in, personalize your code if you want to, and boom, you're a Flodesk affiliate. So they're trying to put money back in your pocket as well as they continue to grow their business. And I think that's really, really cool. That kind of brings me to my next point is that the partner program was just established and I have become a Flodesk partner. I was so excited to be selected to be able to basically sing their praises, which I do anyway. That's why they have been an ad on my podcast since day one, back when it was the Allie Ray Haney show. I've always been a huge fan of Flodesk, and I'm just really grateful to be a Flodesk partner now. Let's jump into a couple of different ways that we can utilize email marketing as a realtor and as a short-term rental owner. I'm going to first take the realtor side of things, and I'm going to walk you through almost like a full strategy, so to speak, of how to use email marketing as a realtor. So if you are a realtor that's looking to grow a personal brand, typically you're going to have some sort of website that accompanies that has your listings, your about page, your home page, and hopefully somewhere on there is going to have a way to opt into an email list. As a realtor, why would somebody opt into your email list? Well, it's because you have some sort of free resource that you are able to provide them. As we are going through putting ourselves in our ideal client shoes, typically, if someone's accessing your website, they are either looking to buy a home or to sell a home. Perhaps maybe an investor, but I would say vast majority is buying or selling. With Flodesk, you can segment those customers into different funnels. You can have a buyer segment and you can have a seller segment, because a buyer might need a free resource like 10 things you need to know as a first-time home buyer, or ways to prepare to buy your first home. Versus a seller, on the other hand, might need some sort of resource that says 10 things you need to do before you sell your home or as you prepare to sell your home, right? So you have valuable resources both for buyers and for sellers, and you can tailor the sequence of emails that they receive based off of which freebie or opt-in they select. So I'm going to, the same kind of sequence goes for both, but I will go with buyers first, or I'll just do buyers. And then you can kind of know that it mimics with the seller's sequence. So as a first-time home buyer, right, I want to type my email and my first name into the form. There are different types of forms that are already pre-designed, much like those email templates that you can use through Flodesk, and you can embed those directly in your site. So a form could be a pop-up that comes up after, let's say, 5 seconds of them scrolling on the screen. It could be an inline form, so directly put on your website in a canvas or section of your website. It could even be a full page form that looks much like a landing page that could be slipped into the bio of your social media, perhaps, right? There are a lot of different ways that you can incorporate forms to be able to grow your email list in as many places as possible. And those forms are already pre-designed so that you can just brand them with your colors and your fonts and your images, and boom, you're good to go to be able to have people say yes to you and to your opt-in as easily as possible in multiple different locations. Back to the website. Let's say we have an inline form. They enter in their email address, they enter into their first name. After that, they're going to be immediately added to the buyer segment, and that's going to trigger the very first email, that email that then sends them that resource that they just signed up for. Then after that, we're going to wait a day. And you can do this all within that workflow segment of Flodesk. We're going to wait a day and they're going to receive another email with additional helpful resources. Those resources are going to be links to blog posts that you've written in the past, all about maybe the loans that you need to pay off before you go to finance your first home, or how to determine what your non-negotiables are in terms of home amenities. You're going to have 3 or 4 blog posts that you've previously written, and you're going to have them linked there in the email, and they're going to be beautifully designed for that second email that they receive one day after they get that initial opt-in. The next email that they're going to receive one day later is going to be a story. It's going to be a story about a previous client that you've helped with their testimonial from that client so that they can start to see themselves in the process of home buying. And then that 4th email that they're going to receive is going to be a call to action where you ask them to schedule a consult call with you. Okay. So you see how you have introduced them to the home buying process. And now you're going to get them to move forward in the process. After that, in that workflow, you can say, okay, they've finished this initial welcome sequence. And then you can push them to a newsletter or a general subscriber sequence where they then receive the newsletter that you send out every so often. You can choose that frequency of newsletter. Perhaps it's weekly, perhaps it's monthly, perhaps it's quarterly. Whatever frequency you choose, my biggest piece of advice is that you continue to stay consistent in that frequency, in that weekly, monthly, or quarterly cadence. And within that newsletter, you can continue to stay top of mind with them. And the way that you do that is A, the consistency, but B, continuing to solve their problems. The first reason that they came to you was to solve a problem, right? Because they needed to buy a house for the first time. And you were able to quickly prepare them to do that, right? You solved that issue. Now let's continue to solve the issues that they might have. Maybe it could be something as simple as a market report. How many houses have been sold? How many houses went pending? How many houses have closed in that area? It could be typical interest rates, like a full market report, right? It could be local events that they could attend. Maybe they're moving to the area from somewhere new and they want to get to know the local area. Will you include your local events, any type of like small businesses or local shops that you also like to support, any types of festivals that might be coming up, right? You're just kind of introducing them into the area and the culture of the place that they might be living. We are continuing to solve any types of issues that they might have. The purpose of that is so that you can stay top of mind. So maybe they really were preemptive in their search for a realtor. They're actually not looking to move for 9 to 12 months. But if you are still in their inbox every week or every month for those next 9 months, I can guarantee you that when they're ready to pull the trigger on finding a realtor, they're gonna think of you. So the same thing goes if you were to have somebody enter into a selling sequence as well. So I hope you can kind of see the importance of an email newsletter list or email marketing strategy in general, and the benefits that it can bring in terms of being able to nurture clients that are maybe a lukewarm lead, but turn them into a warm lead because they consistently are seeing you, which leads to trust and familiarity. Okay, now we're going to switch gears a little bit to short-term rental owners and how short-term rental owners can use email marketing in order to grow their businesses. One of the main ways that I see short-term rental owners using email marketing is through client retention. So let's say that this guest has already come and stayed at your house. They've experienced an incredible stay. They loved all of your amenities, and now they're singing your praises. But how likely are they to actually return back if they never hear from you again? The way that you can use email marketing as a short-term rental owner is by following up, keeping top of mind after that stay has concluded. A couple of different ways that you can stay in their inbox and stay relevant is by offering, return guest discounts or by offering seasonal promotions. So even if they are not traveling for that seasonal promotion, they might have a friend or a family member that is, and that friend or family member trusts the person that already stayed. So they're even more likely to book with you because they know that it's going to be a good experience. Additionally, there are different junctures that you could use email marketing. It doesn't have to just be in client retention post stay. It could also be during the stay, especially if you are in a place that is like a little bit more seasonal where they stay for a week at a time. If on night one, you send them a welcome email that's beautifully designed. And then night two, let's say it's a Tuesday night and you know that the restaurant down the street is going to have trivia on Tuesday nights. You can send them an email saying, hey, by the way, I think this is something that you might enjoy. It gets filled up really quickly. So if I were you, I would go and have a beer about an hour before trivia starts at 6. And then you guys can have a really amazing time as a family together. How much does that elevate your experience versus them having to sit there and find a Google search if they want to find something fun to do on a Tuesday night in a place that they've never been before? Okay, so those are different ways that you can use email marketing as a short-term rental owner. All right, let's recap some of the amazing benefits or differentiators of Flodesk. Okay, so first, we have the incredible design aspect of it, along with those templates that are already pre-made for you to basically write your copy in and put your tailored brand colors and fonts into. Second, we have the incredible flat rate pricing that doesn't change as your email list grows, which is the intention of an email list to start with. We have those user-friendly automations and workflows on the back end. We have incredible customer service. We have a built-in affiliate program. There are so many incredible features of Flodesk, which is why I became a Flodesk partner. I'm going to link in the show notes my Flodesk partner link, and that will not only give you 50% off of your first year, it will give you a 14-day free trial to be able to test out Flodesk prior to even saying yes to them. But I know once you take those 14 days and start playing around in the back end that you're going to be like, absolutely, I need this. So I would love to answer any questions that you guys might have about Flodesk. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram at brandandmarket.co. DM me any questions that you might have about Flodesk. Obviously, I'm an open book. Obviously, I'm a fangirl of them. Please feel free, DM me those questions. And if you want to try that 14-day trial, please click on the link in the show notes. And I cannot wait to see how you start to grow your personal brand as a realtor, to start to grow your brand as a short-term rental owner. I am here to cheer you on. And I cannot wait to see the growth that you will see so soon using Flodesk. Peace out, guys. You just completed another episode of the Brand and Market Podcast. If you found this helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find this show and so that you never miss an episode. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for all the resources mentioned today. See you next Wednesday, and as always, I'm here cheering you on as you build your dream brand and business.